Okay. Can you hear me on Zoom? Good. All right. Thank you. Okay. Cleaned the mat, and apparently it's not dry. And I'm sitting here thinking, I don't really want to. I know it's clean. I know that's why it's wet, but I don't want to sit on a wet mat. That's just not how I want to start my day. So we're here for Pilates. We're using our Pilates ball today. If you don't have a ball, you can use a small pillow, just something that you can squeeze. And we will get started. So welcome. Thank you everyone for joining me. I'm just kind of all over the place this morning. It's Tuesday, October 20th. And we will start with some nice deep breaths, relaxing a little bit. So you want to sit up nice and tall, but try not to scrunch your shoulders. So deep breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth. On your next inhale, go ahead and reach up nice and tall. And then exhale, twist. So I'm starting with my right hand reaching, doesn't really matter, but reach up long with that right hand, and then left hand to right knee and twist. Think about lengthening that side on the inhale and the reach, and then bringing everything out on the exhale. Last one. Back to center and switch. So inhale, reach up with the left, or switch sides. And exhale and twist. Inhale and reach. And exhale, twist. And one more. And then I'm going to turn on my mat. So feet are mat width apart. Or if you're not on a regular yoga mat, just wider than hip width. Working the muscles of your legs to press them down onto the mat and sit up nice and tall. Inhale, reach hands up to shoulder height, and exhale, come out and down past opposite little toe. Inhale, back up tall. Exhale out to the other side. Inhale up tall, both arms up. Exhale, reach down, keep one arm up and back as you reach the other forward. And then let's add to this one. So you're going to alternate between twisting and reaching forward, sit back up, and then twist and reach back. Come back up to center, Opposite side, reach forward. Inhale up, and then reach back and at an angle. Still working on your breath. So inhale up tall, exhale, whether it's forward or back, and twisting, either twisting towards your foot or twisting to open up to the back. One more each side after the one that you're on. And come back to center. Deep breath in at the top. I brought my feet together. And you can just relax your legs a little bit. You don't have to flex at the ankles. You can just let them relax. Walk your hands down towards your feet. Inhale back up. And again, exhale forward. Walk your hands down towards your feet. Inhale back up. And last one. Come on up. Go ahead and grab that ball. Going to bend your knees. Place the ball at the base of your spine. And just roll back onto it. So it's your low back. You can always move around. You're never stuck in one place. So if this first spot that you landed on doesn't feel good, doesn't feel like you're supporting your low back, go ahead and move around a little bit. So we are putting pressure on that low back, but it should feel supportive. I'm going to start with my feet and knees together. Open your hands out wide for a nice base of support. And then allow your knees to open out into a butterfly stretch. And again, you're never stuck on the ball in one place. So if you feel like you want to move around, see if you can't find a space that lets your hips open out a little bit more. Go ahead and open there. And back in together. And again, starting with feet and knees together, open those knees out. And back in. Open your feet out wider than hip width. Start with your knees dropped in together. And then open out. Again, into that butterfly stretch. You might need to move on the ball a little bit to see if you can't allow your hips to open up just a little bit more. And back together. And again. Together. Slowly bring one knee up towards your chest and then the other, finding your balance for just a moment, and really bring your knees into your chest. Again, if you need to move on the ball a little bit, you can. Find that support to your low back. Tailbone should be pointed up towards the sky. Point your toes away.
straighten your legs out so they're all the way up over your nose. Slowly lower down. Start lowering those straight legs towards the floor. I'm going to get about halfway down. Bend my knees, drag my toes along my mat, and come back in. And repeat. A nice slow circular movement. Bracing in my center as I straighten my legs out. And I just realized on Facebook I am a headless talking thing. It's kind of funny. Not sure if this will help or not. There we go. At least now I have a head. A couple more of these. Bracing in your center. As you straighten out, bend your knees to tap in on the mat, dragging down along, and last one. And then let's reverse direction. So start with those knees tucked in. Bring your toes down towards the mat. Going to straighten out, sweep up, and bring the knees back in. So starting with toes down, sweep up. Try not to launch yourself up off the ball. So really bracing in that center, sweeping up. Two more. And last one. Hug your knees in. Tap one toe down. And switch. Just see if you can't feel that stretch through the hip flexor of the down leg. Up and switch. And last one. Feet back down to the mat. Do a little side to side roll. Forward and back, and then we're going to roll all the way till the ball is up. Center of the back, and then between the shoulder blades. You find a spot that feels like a nice stretch, go ahead and hang out there for a second until you're ready to come all the way up. And you can set that ball aside for a moment. And roll back down onto the mat. Again, feet about hip width apart, toes pointed straight down. So we went from having our low back supported and elevated, and now we need to engage the center and press that low back down. So pulling your belly button down towards your spine, press that low back down. And just take a couple of these pelvic tilts, pressing down, releasing, pressing down. Press that low back down. Keep it pressed down. Bring your legs into tabletop. Hands stack up over your shoulders, palms facing in. And let's go ahead and alternate. Reach out opposite arm and leg, keeping one leg in tabletop as you extend the other one out, pushing away with your heel. Push away with that heel. Make sure your low back is pressed down as you're alternating. One more each. And back to center. Grab that ball. Place it. Let's have it out between the ankles. Or pillow. If you're using a small pillow, tuck it out between your ankles. Open your arms out nice and wide. So mine are at about shoulder width or shoulder height. Press down. Legs in tabletop. We're going to drop both legs down to one side. Your gaze turns in the opposite direction. Back up through the center and out to the other side. So keeping that 90-degree bend to your knees. Press up and through. And press up and through. Be sure you're keeping that bend to your knees, your ankles flexed, legs active. Back to center. Bring that ball up between your knees. Low back press down onto the mat. Feet are about hip width apart, toes pointed straight down. And let's give that ball 3 big squeezes, or pillow, whatever you're using. So 3 big squeezes, and then on the 4th, hold for a 4 count. Really pressing in, release, and again. So 1, 2, 3, and on 4, I hold for a 4 count. Really, really squeezing in, so engaging the muscles of the inner thigh. And again. And hold. Low back press down throughout. So I want you to make sure that you're still pressing that low back down. Holding. And continue. Let's just do a few more. 3 big squeezes and then a hold. And again. All right. You can release for just a moment. And actually set that ball aside. Hug your knees in. Let's go for a single leg stretch. So low back press down, hug your knees in. I want you to raise your chest and shoulders up towards the ceiling. Extend your left leg out to about 45 degrees from the floor, toes pointed away. Inhale and switch. Inhale and switch. So you're hugging that other knee in, extending one leg out. And a couple more. Release down, grab that ball again, place it under your knees, so between the back of your calves and your hamstrings, and squeeze in. You can have your arms anywhere you want down by your sides for stability. I'm going to do palms up to allow my chest and my shoulders to open and relax a little bit. If you need to be grounded a little bit more, you can go ahead and do palms down. Toes pointed down. I'm going to lower them down. Tap on the mat. and come back up. Now when I come up, option to raise your hips up off the mat, but do it slowly. So you're tapping down and slowly coming back up and raising up. You don't want to jerk up. You want to just slowly tap down, keep that low back pressed down as you do. And then if you want to add the slow hip raise, you can, but keep it slow. Two more. And release, set that ball aside, hug the knees in. We'll go into another single straight leg stretch. So again, chest and shoulders up towards the ceiling, extend one leg out at 45 degrees, extend the other leg up overhead. Inhale and switch, inhale and switch. One more each side. And back to center. Grab that ball again. Place it again under your knees. Squeezing in. So this time we're going to go at a bit of an angle. So I want you to turn, little twist through your torso so your knees are pointed up towards your right shoulder. Toes pointed down towards the bottom left corner of the mat. Squeezing that ball in. Tap down and slightly to the left. And bring the knees up to the right. So your low back, the center of your low back is still pressed down. You've twisted, but you're not dropping out to the one side. You're just twisted. So I want your low back still pressed down. Squeezing that ball. Tapping down, raising up. And two more. Release into the center for just a moment. And then let's do the other side. Do a little twist. Knees pointed up towards your left shoulder, toes pointed down to the right. Tap down, back up. Two more. And back to center. Set that ball aside for a moment again. Hug your knees in, relax everything. And I want to do another straight leg stretch. But this time we're going to figure eight with the ball. So you're not going to be tugging your leg in. You're going to need to utilize those core muscles to bring one leg in, kind of scissor legs, and we'll figure eight the ball in between them. So start with straight legs up overhead, toes pointed up. Chest and shoulders come up off the mat towards the ceiling. Extend one leg down, and I have the ball, I'm going to pass. So I'm passing back behind. Low back press down, core engaged. Straight, active legs. Let's do just a few more. And release. Hug those knees in. And then place that ball out between your ankles again. Hands down by your sides to begin. Open up nice and wide. Stack your legs straight up over your hips. That ball squeezed between your ankles. And slowly start lowering your legs out to one side. We're not going to go all the way down. Back up through the center and out to the other side. So again, I'm not looking for a torso twist here. I want my low back to stay pressed down. I'm just alternating. And through. And back up and through, and continue that. I'll be right back. All right, do a couple more of those. So again, low back is pressed down. And back to the center. Hug your knees in. Keep that ball between your ankles. And last one down here. Going to start with your knees hugged in. Raise your chest and shoulders up off the mat. And we're going to alternate on our inhale between a nice hollow hold, so reaching hands and arms out opposite. Exhale, sweep around. On the next one, hands and feet reach out in the same direction and exhale back in. And alternate between those hollow hold. Exhale, and then reach towards that ball. Let's do one more of each. And release down. Set that ball aside, open your feet out wider than hip width, and let's do some windshield wipers. So just alternating, dropping down, dropping down. Get a nice stretch through quads, your hip flexors. And when you're ready, come up to seated. So feet planted on the mat in front of you, knees bent. Start with ball between your palms, arms straight out in front of you. I want you to squeeze that ball between your palms. So your fingertips are light, you're pressing through your palms. Deep breath in, and exhale, sit partway back. And come back now up. Keeping tension on that ball at all times.
Couple more. And back up to center. Going to do that again, this time alternating, reaching back at an angle. So you'll start with the ball in the center. Again, deep breath in, and then exhale, reach out to one side and back to center, and out and back to the other side. So keeping that other hand in the center. So you're opening up as you're reaching. Follow the ball with your gaze. That helps to really complete that twist. One more each side. And back to center. Going back to the first one where we just went straight back to the center. This time, as you're getting all the way to the back. So sit back with the ball up at shoulder height, reach up overhead, keep pressing it up overhead as you sit up, bring it back to chest height. Sit back, reach up overhead, keep pushing it up overhead as you sit up, and come back down and continue that. So press it up overhead, push up as you sit up, and back. Sit back with it at chest height, reach it up overhead, keep pushing it up overhead as you sit up. Let's do a few more of those. Keep pressing those feet down. Last one. Back to center. And again, we start with that ball in the center, sitting up straight. Deep breath in. Exhale, sit partway back, holding here. Reach the ball out to the right. Big sweep up overhead to the left. Back to center, but you're staying in this partway back position. Next time, start up to the left and over and back. So I'm staying in this partway back position as I alternate which side I start to. Bracing in the center, pushing my legs down onto the mat. Couple more. Last one to each side. Back up to center and all the way down, all the way forward. I'm going to let my knees fall to the outside, feet together in the center. Forward. All right. Turn it over onto all fours. Knees under hips, hands under shoulders. And let's alternate between cat and cow. Cows, let your spine sag, chin up, chest forward, but pulling your belly button up. And then let your arch your back up, let your head fall heavy between your arms. And again, inhale. Cow. Exhale. Big arch up.
couple more of these. Back to center. And alternating bird dogs. So keeping your spine straight, keeping your hips closed to the floor, open up, opposite arm and leg, back to center. I want you to push away with your heel. Keep your gaze down on the mat so you're not having a lot of movement or really any movement of your cervical spine through your neck. Keep your gaze right down on the mat. Hips closed to the floor. And a couple more. Back to center. And drop it down into child's pose, reaching fingertips forward. Come on up. Onto your knees. Step your left foot forward. So starting with that left foot straight out in front of you, then I want you to step it out to the left a little bit. So it's now open out to an angle. Pushing your hips forward. Go ahead and lean forward. So you'll get a stretch through your inner left thigh and hopefully also a nice stretch through your right hip flexors there in the front. If you don't feel it in your hip flexors, you need to push your hips forward. So squeeze your glutes, push your hips forward. Bring that left foot back in center. Extend it out. Heel down, ankle flex. Your toes are pointed back towards you. Hinge at the hip. Fingertips down to the mat. Back up, left foot down, both hands to the inside of that left foot. Turn your right toes under and press up first into a runner's lunge, and then start walking your hands to center to straighten both legs, or as straight as you can get them. Walk your hands forward again, drop that right knee. Come back up and switch. And stepping your right foot, starting with it straight forward, then open out to an angle. Squeeze your glutes, press your hips forward. So as you lean forward again, a little stretch to the inner right thigh. Big stretch on that left hip flexor. If you're not getting a stretch in the left hip flexor, it's because you're not pressing your hips forward. Press them forward, and you should get that stretch. Bring that right foot back to center, extend it out, heel down, ankle flex, toes pointed back towards you, and hip hinge, fingertips down. Up. Both hands down to the inside of that right foot. Turn your left toes under. Starting first in that runner's lunge. So bring that left knee up. And then start walking your hands back to center, straightening your right leg as you go.
onto that left knee. Come on up. And that's it for today. So thank you very much for joining. I hope you enjoyed. Got a good workout in. Thank you, Facebook, for joining us. I hope to see you on